Hey YouTube, it's Gabe from the Order of the Traveling Hats. We had a pretty cool thing happen this weekend. My wife Sarah got her own Jeep. She got her a 2020 JL Rubicon 2-door, like 18,000 miles on it. It's like new still, and it's her favorite bikini pearl coat. So she's pretty excited. It was pretty stock when she got it, so she wanted to do a few things to it. We're doing like new Nerf bars, and it needs a headliner on it, some little things like that. I put her a phone mount, you know, pretty standard stuff. But today we're going to install her new headliner. So I wanted to come out and do some kind of baseline testing to see, is this thing actually doing anything, or is it just making it look pretty? You know, does it attenuate sound at all? Does it help maintain the temperature a little bit lower, or keep it warmer when it's cold outside? See if it's really doing anything. So we're going to do that now. Right now we're out for a drive. We're going to test the decibel level through like neighborhood streets, and then we're going to check the decibel level out on the highway doing like 70 or so. So we're going to do that now. We'll get some good readings from the decibel meter. Then I'm going to let it cool down in the garage, and then we're going to park it out in the sun for like an hour and see what the temperature change is. And then we'll install it all, and I'll show you that. It's going to be super simple. You basically just double-side tape it to the top, and then we'll repeat everything and see if it made a difference in the sound, or if it made a difference in how the temperature increases inside. So stay tuned and let's see what the facts really are on this top. All right, so here we are doing, we're doing like 42, 45, 45, something like that. Just little neighborhood streets headed out towards the highway. Right now, 89 decibels is the highest, 92, so it's bouncing around mid 80s, low 80s. Cruising at 47 right now. So that's kind of your neighborhood reading. Let's see what it looks like on the highway at a little bit higher speeds. Alright, here are some pretty steady highway. We're doing 72 right now. And it looks like, let's call it high 70s, low 80s, but it's bouncing around quite a bit. 94 decibels is the highest that it's been. So it's not too much different than what we were seeing in the neighborhood, which is good. I'd say it's pretty quiet in here, but I am curious to see if this new headliner does anything to change the sound anyway. I'm expecting a little bit more thermal help than I am sound deadening, but we're about to find out. All right, it's time for phase 2 of the pre-installation testing. So what we've got here is, after our drive, our AC was set for 72. WeatherBug says it's currently 78. Jeep says it's 75, and I need some gas. We've got just a temperature gauge here that I use to manage the humidity and temperature around the guitars in the house. It says it's 75 in the Jeep right now. I have parked us in the sun. We're gonna shut her off here, let it set for an hour, and see what kind of temperature change we get. That should give us a pretty good indication of what changes with the new top on it, and see if it helps at all. This also gives us a really good chance to get a good look at Sarah's new Jeep here out in the sun. It sure does look pretty in the sunlight. But I've got to get a timer set, and we'll see you back here in an hour. Okay, it's been an hour. Let's open up and see what the temperature looks like. You're going to see it at the same time I do. It's been sitting out in the sun the whole time. Okay, so we started out at 75. It's now 95 degrees inside the Jeep. So let's go inside, pull the sucker into the garage, and install the top, and then we'll repeat everything and see what we get. I'm pretty curious to see how it goes. Stand by. Okay, here's what we're working with. We're installing the Bedrug headliners. I'll have a link down in the description here if you want to check them out. We ordered them from Amazon. They're like 190 bucks, something like that. But it's just a like a pretty dense foam rubbery kind of thing with some 3M double-sided sticky tape on the back, but it's got a nice, like a felt gray, kind of gray-black felt on the top. They're pretty thick, so we'll see. They feel nice. I've already kind of pre-formed them into the tops, and they fit inside the top just perfectly. The instructions are super easy. Basically, it's clean the contact points with some alcohol and stick them on. So we're going to install these tops now, and then we'll repeat our test and see if we got any kind of difference. Here we go. All right, so the instructions tell us to get some alcohol on a, says lint-free rag, but we're using paper towels because that's how we roll. And you just clean off the contact points. You can see on the back of the panels it has the two strips that correspond to the two raised portions on your top. So I've already cleaned the two front panels off. We'll do the back separately. The panels don't say which one or go where, but it's pretty simple to hold it up and see, you know, which one goes where. They fit in the pocket just right. There's a little notch back here in the corner that you can, so you can't really mix them up. All right, let's put the first one on. All right, so you just stick it up there, kind of make sure you've got it in place a little bit before you press it into place. That's it. So you just repeat for the other freedom panel, and then again for the back it's got two pieces. And we'll come back once we're completed and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so these back ones are a little tricky. The instructions, they do recommend that you take the top off to put these on, and I was like, I'm not pulling the top off to put these things on. That's ridiculous. Well, they slide up under your speaker bar here, so you can't really get to it, and this tape is super sticky. So what I've done is I've got the back glass open so I can come at it at a better angle. And you just have to be real careful when you've got the tape off and you slide it up in there. You want to line up the inside edge and not the outside edge. That way it's where it's supposed to be, and get it slid all the way up into position as best you can. And there's a little lip on the inside of it that makes it even harder. The way the top is built together, it tends to get hung up on this guy right here. So you just got to be careful, come at it at a good angle and make sure it's in there really good before you start sticking anything down. But otherwise it's pretty easy. Sticks on just like the front. Just be aware that it's a little tricky with the top still on to get it up in there. Okay, we've got all the backing off. We're gonna real time, you can see me either mess it up or be a hero. Again, get it as flat as you can and keep it kind of where it needs to be as best you can. And that's all there is to it. Just be careful with that as you slide it up in there so that tape doesn't grab too much. And it's not that difficult. Make sure you go around where all the tape is and stick it really good. Once this 3M tape stuff adheres and dries, it's not coming off. But give it the best chance you can. You won't be able to reach all the way up, but you can get close. Done. All right, just to give you an idea what it looks like. It actually looks pretty sharp, I think. It matches the interior pretty good. The back, everything fits into the designated spots perfectly. It's cut very well. So yeah, overall very pleased. Super simple to put in. Now let's run our tests again and see if it made any real difference. If nothing else, it looks great. All right, stand by. All right, we're on the same little section of road. This is with the install. Yeah, it's the same for the sound. It's kind of what I expected. It doesn't really change a whole lot. High 60s, 65, 67, ranging around up to 90 or so. We're going 44, 45. Just coasting, we're getting like 67, low 70s. So not much change in the sound on the just neighborhood streets. We'll get it out on the highway and see if that makes any difference, but I'm really expecting to see more of a difference on the thermal properties. So we'll see. Let's see what happens on the highway. All right, now we're out on the highway. Cruise is set at 71. Looks like we're low 70s, averaging kind of low 80s. Again, the peak is at 90. I think that's pretty well the same as we saw without the headliner in. But we'll check the footage and see. It's very similar if it's not. But either way, maybe if it was raining really hard, it'd make a pretty good difference in the sound. I'm really more curious to see its thermal properties and see if it helps keep it a little bit cooler or slow it down anyway. But anyway, the sound test looks pretty conclusive. The headliner really doesn't make much difference, but again, we'll check the details and see. So we'll sum it all up and see what we find. All right, so we're back from the sound run, and it's time to see what kind of temperature change we get. We're parked in the direct sunlight. Weatherbug says it's 83. Jeep says it's 81. Thermometer says 73, but I've been cranking the AC to kind of get things cooled off so we can get a good reset. So 73, 81-ish outside. We'll set for another hour and see what kind of change we get this time. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Jeep with the new headliner, been setting, as you can see, direct sunlight for an hour, just like we did before. Let's check and see what it did. 100 degrees. 100 degrees inside. Now, we'll have to kind of look at it a little bit. It's warmer now, but it did increase the temperature quite a bit more than it did without. But I don't know how really reliable that is. How's the top doing and setting in the sun like this? Everything is still in place. Nothing came loose, nothing's sagging, nothing's coming down. Everything is where it's supposed to be. It does have a new foam headliner smell in here. It's not necessarily unpleasant, but you can tell that it's in here. So we'll see how long it off gases and how bad that gets. But there you go. 100 degrees inside with the liner. So we'll go back into the studio, kind of look at the numbers, see what we come up with, and see if we can make sense out of it. All right, let's go. All right, we're back in the studio now. We've got some results. Near as I can tell, it made no difference in the sound, really. The decibel levels were very similar with or without. Very, very slightly on quieter with the liner in. But you'd be hard pressed to tell. The temperature, it was a little difficult. The test data is kind of skewed because it was warming up on this sunny day. So it was a little warmer on the second time, so things are going to warm up a little bit. But here's what we got, right? So without the liner, the Jeep sitting in the direct sunlight for an hour, it warmed up 20 degrees inside the cabin. It was 75 degrees outside. It was 75 degrees inside when we started, and it was 95 degrees when we opened the door after an hour. After we put the top liner in, we repeated the process, but then it was 81 degrees outside instead of 75, so we had a 6 degrees difference. internally was 73 when we started. After the hour, it was 100 degrees inside the cabin. So we had a 19-degree increase that time, 20-degree increase the time before that. There was a 6-degree difference in the outside air temperature and a 7-degree difference in the inside temperature difference with the swing, with the 27-degree difference. So kind of not on that as well. Not a lot of difference in the sound, not a lot of difference in my very unscientific and uncontrolled hot Florida sun temperature test. So take that as you will. The top looks great. The top fits great. You can now put your patches on your stuff, like if you're traveling around and you do that kind of thing. But if you're looking for it to make it quite a bit quieter, it's not going to. If you're looking for it to make it quite a bit cooler or stay quite a bit warmer, probably not going to make a big difference. I think if the temperature had stayed the same, it probably would have made a little bit of difference, a few degrees, but it's not going to be a huge difference. But overall, very impressed with the quality of the liner. Every panel was cut perfectly. It fit to the top perfectly. Everything looks great and everything was in good shape. One of the panels had one small dent in it from the shipping, but I'm hoping over time that comes out. But otherwise they were flawless. So check the link and go and see if you want some. I do recommend these, but I can't say they made a tremendous difference in the environment inside of the Jeep. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. Give us a like, leave us a comment. Let us know what else you want to see on these quick videos like this. And appreciate it. Thank you.